it brings me great satisfaction to know that what we are offering our associates here is better than what I had access to when my children were young.
Hello, and welcome back to the Work-Life Equation podcast, where we explore how people navigate careers, caregiving, and everything in between. I'm Priya.
And I'm Paul. Today we're joined by Meghan Klosterman, Senior Manager of Childcare Programs at Walmart. Meghan played a key role in launching childcare initiatives at Walmart's corporate headquarters in Arkansas, helping employees better balance work and home life.
Meghan envisioned childcare that not only keeps the children safe and happy, but also provides an excellent foundation for their school years to come. We're proud to say Walmart partnered with Bright Horizons for this initiative and to accomplish their goals. It's great to have you here, Meghan.
Thank you very much for having me. It's wonderful to be having this conversation with you today.
Meghan, I read that when you and your team unveiled plans to build a child care center on the Walmart campus, that center, that child care, had consistently ranked among the top requests on a list of amenities. Can you, and we all know that Bentonville and Walmart, you've got tons of stuff there for employees' well-being, but tell us a little bit more about this. Why did that child care center rank so high on the list of amenities employees wanted?
I think for several reasons. Childcare, of course, as you know, is very key to providing the work-life balance that employees are looking for now in their lives as they juggle family and work. And we also are in the middle of a childcare desert, which is probably a term that you are familiar with here in Northwest Arkansas, where there are many more children in need of care than we have spots for. And so when Walmart was envisioning their new home office and really listening to associates and the things that would be important for them as they began this endeavor. Top of the list was high quality, affordable childcare. And so Walmart, I can't take credit. This happened long before I was with Walmart. But Walmart, in their wisdom and forward-looking vision, made sure that they would provide that for associates at the corporate level.
What has drawn you specifically to care so deeply about working families and the challenges of juggling work and life and home in general? Meghan, did your own experience come into play?
Yes, it did in several ways. I have a background in education. I worked in public education for 18 years prior to coming to Walmart. And so it's a passion of mine. I come from a family of educators, and it's important, an important value that we hold in my family, and it's a service. And also with my own personal experience with my own children, it was not easy to find good, high quality, affordable childcare, especially given at the time I was a teacher. And so there were budget constraints for me. And I left the workforce for a period of a few years because it was cost prohibitive for me to engage childcare, and the quality was not what I would want for my children. So yes, personally, I can relate to the needs of childcare as a working mom. And so it brings me great satisfaction to know that what we are offering our associates here is better than what I had access to when my children were young. I take pride in that. I'm appreciative of Walmart and the vision that they had for it, and bringing it to fruition is something that has been so exciting.
That's great. The paying it forward aspect of it. And, the name of the center is kind of fascinating. It's kind of playful. Little Squiggles Children's Enrichment Center. So that second part, emphasizes the idea that this is more than just a babysitting service. Can you describe the center a bit for listeners? And can you also talk a little bit about what it provides for both children and parents?
Yes. You're very correct. It is a nod to our culture, the name Little Squiggles. We have a cheer that is, I think, fairly well known that we say collectively here at Walmart very regularly. And part of the cheer is a squiggle. And so when Walmart was going through the process of naming the center, it only made sense that we would nod to the fun and playful aspect of our cheer in the name of our child care center. The center itself is quite large. We call it a mega center. It is about 73,000 square feet, split between two buildings that share a property. Just to put that in a little bit of context, in Walmart speak, that's roughly the size of two neighborhood markets that people might be familiar with in their community. So it is a very large center. We have capacity for 516 children from 6 weeks old to pre-K through pre-K. And Walmart was very intentional in the design aspects of that too. So every classroom has access to outdoor space. We've taken very seriously Walmart's connection to nature. So we have very thoughtfully designed outdoor spaces, including a parent plaza, which is a green space, where we encourage parents to come during breaks in their workday and re-engage with their child, share a book or a picnic lunch before they head back to work to finish their workday. Because we do take very seriously that work-life balance. We know it's important to feel that you're connected to your family, that your family is in a good place and well cared for, so that you can bring your whole self to work and do the best work possible. Those two are intertwined.
And what a privilege. I mean, it is so incredible. And, just going back to what you said earlier, sometimes really what parents look for in a childcare facility is something better than what they can provide at home. And it helps alleviate the guilt, right? So you opened up in 2024. What has been the employee engagement and what has been the response to the center?
Response to Little Squiggles has been more than I think we could ever have dreamed for. Parents are loving it. The feedback that we're getting is that we hit the mark with providing them what they were looking for. The highest quality childcare and pre-education, early education, for an affordable price. And that speaks to who we are at Walmart. We believe that our mission is to save people money so that they can live better. And we are doing that for our associates in our offering of Little Squiggles as well.
I love that I get to say Little Squiggles over and over and over again. And it's okay if I crack a smile. Nobody's going to think it's strange,
It is fun, and it's fun to tell the story of the connection all the way back to Sam Walton, because he is the creator of that cheer
Of the
and
cheer,
the squiggle,
right.
the squiggly.
I love it. Obviously, Walmart is a retail leader. It's well known for how it treats its employees very well. And I'm wondering, when you have conversations with your peers at other organizations around, what you've built there, what is some of their thinking, particularly in the context of, a fairly recent KPMG study that said that, 8 in 10 CEOs predict that, remote work will be gone or severely diminished in a few years. So when you're talking to those colleagues at other companies, what you're providing is so essential. And I'm wondering, what questions are they asking you about how Walmart was able to do it?
There's curiosity for sure about the level of support that we provide to make this a reality for our associates. We pay very close attention to the local market and ensure that we are competitive with tuition rates and offerings, and we set the bar high for the educational quality. One of the reasons we partnered with Bright Horizons is because we knew they provided a research-based curriculum that would above and beyond prepare children for their educational future, because that's what we know our associates are looking for now. It goes beyond just caring for the needs of the child, but also preparing them for school. That's what we heard loud and clear was a desire from our associates. And so, communicating that with our partners in the business community is something that I think is important to make sure you get it right and you offer high value.
You spoke about the fact that, and till you said it hadn't registered with me. I knew how large the center was. 516 children is
Yes.
huge, but the fact that it's the size of 2 neighborhood stores really brings it into perspective, right? So, but for most employers, this is a really daunting project, and in your case, you've just created this mega facility for your employees. How did you start that process, and how was it evangelizing and creating the business case for something so magnificent and so empowering for your employees? But I'm sure that was a long drawn process. You said it started before you, but how was the process? How long did it take?
So the plan for Little Squiggles being incorporated right here in the heart of our new office campus, the broad campus overall, it was part of the conversation from the very beginning stages. So before ground was ever broken or any structure was ever raised on the property itself, dedicated time to listening to associates about what they wanted and what they valued was spent. So that was the beginning of it. That started years ago, prior even to the COVID pandemic. So throughout those years, lots of honing and refining and listening and going back to the drawing board to make sure we were getting it just right. Was something that I think broadly here at Walmart, there was dedication to across the board. So, and that has continued as we've opened our doors and made adjustments to make sure we're in action once we welcomed the children. We're also making those adjustments and making sure that the offering was exactly what our associates needed in their lives to make that work-life balance better. And it continues to this day.
Meghan, at the top of this podcast, you talked a bit about your own personal experience and how for a couple of years, because you couldn't find appropriate childcare, you were out of the workforce. But you also sort of alluded to your professional background before coming to Walmart. You were a teacher, you were a school psychologist. I mean, you knew what kids were coming in prepared for school and what kids were going to need some support because they weren't prepared as well when they were younger. How did you bring that knowledge? It's a knowledge greater than most parents have because you were a trained educator. So how did you bring that knowledge and that experience to what you knew the Little Squiggles Center, the Walmart campus, needed to have for these children and these families?
I think my own personal and professional experience definitely lends itself to this role. I started as a kindergarten teacher. So in that role, I was the one receiving.
So you really know a lot about Squiggles then. If you started in kindergarten, you were well-versed in Squiggles before coming to Walmart.
Yes, we did a lot of squiggling. That gives me a perspective as a former kindergarten teacher. I was able to see children every day who had that foundation of a good early childhood education experience versus children who did not have that. And the differences were very obvious. We had more work to do to get the children who'd not been in an early childhood setting ready to learn. They had to learn how to be in a group first and line up first and follow directions and some of those foundational skills that when a child has been in high quality care, they walk through the doors with that day one. And so it started there for me. I think my work as a school psychologist and director of special education, most recently gave me an appreciation for the differences that children bring to school every day, and ways to appreciate and support and nurture them as they embark on their educational journey. And then also partnering with parents and supporting them as they raise children who are learners, and making sure that they feel heard and supported and encouraged, because it does take a village, as that saying goes.
Yeah, absolutely, it does. And I think, it also just having more adults in a child's life helps them from a social and emotional structure standpoint. So the fact that you're providing this right within the back door for these parents is pretty incredible. I've always thought of childcare as a retention tool. So, ensuring that people stay back. And earlier it was women, but now it's so much true for both men and women that they choose to stay in the workforce because now they have credible access to childcare when they have children of that age. But in your case, it almost feels, and this is a question just purely out of curiosity, that it feels like it could almost serve as an attraction tool. So people might choose to work and come to live in Arkansas because they have access to childcare. Have you seen some of that happen in the context of the center as you've set it up? It's been operational for a year.
We have seen, as our workforce grows and changes, and as our new home office comes online, I have had numerous associates say to me, I sought Walmart out because we have a young family and we know that the benefits provided, childcare specifically, but more than that, the benefit package as a whole from Walmart, of which childcare is one part, was very appealing to them, and they sought us out because of that. I've also had associates come to me and say, this is just such a wonderful offering. And I know Walmart cares about me as an individual because they provide benefits like this. So it's definitely something that I'm proud to be a part of because of that.
As are we.
Yeah.
I'd love to know, Meghan, people listening to this, the critics may say, okay, well, easy for Walmart to do. They just built a new campus. It's a gigantic company. They have lots of resources. But, there's obviously something in between a center that serves over 500 children and what a lot of employers are offering. So if you were talking to a peer, another HR leader, or executive who's still hesitant about investing in that employer-sponsored childcare to keep their great employees in the workforce, what would you tell them to help them get past their hesitancy in making that investment?
I would encourage them to do what they can where they are. I hear that from time to time, and I believe there's good truth in that. It doesn't have to be a 516 child care center, mega center, to make a difference in the life of an employee. And I believe that wholly. So a small center, start small and grow, because it will move the needle for employees and their families, and that inspires loyalty, which I think we're all looking for. All businesses are looking for. So, thinking from the standpoint of what can we do now, is an important place to start, and just begin putting one foot in front of the other. Get creative with the spaces that you use. I know there are some places that don't have dedicated built out centers. They still provide good care. When the curriculum is in place and the high quality staffing is in place, you can make a difference in the lives of your employees and their families and their children.
Yeah, and start small and get one foot in front of the other sounds like really great advice. Is there a story you can share with us, Meghan, from one of the families, or any stories that you've heard in terms of how the center has impacted them and the lives of their children?
I think it's been fun. One of the things, maybe not a specific story, but one thing that I hear commonly that is exciting. Our families feel like they're part of something new and exciting and fun, and something that won't be repeated. They are a part of our inaugural class, and they are walking this path with us. We are all learning how to do this together. And we are having fun working it out and partnering with them. And, as we encounter bumps in the road, as anybody would on an endeavor like this, we get to show our kids and our families as well sometimes that learning doesn't stop when you become an adult. It continues on, and so that's just kind of a fun partnership and one of those little gems of this experience that I think I really appreciate.
This has been a wonderful conversation, Megan. And one last question: if there's sort of one lesson you've learned from listening to the working parents and caregivers at Walmart, one lesson that you've learned that if every business leader heard that, he or she would say, okay, we have to do what we can. Even if we have to start small, we have to do something. Is there a lesson that really sticks out that would drive home the importance of this high quality childcare to the employee and to that employee's loyalty and ultimate ability to work at a high level for that company?
I think the lesson that would be a takeaway, in my opinion, would be that supporting an associate or an employee in their whole life and as their whole self is something that can't exclude families as they are starting out and as they are raising young children. And so it is a critical component to I think any benefit package that's offered. It has to be a conversation because it is such an important part of our lives as human beings. And we have an obligation as corporations to see our employees as full people who are walking the path of life and come alongside them to help them navigate that.
It is so important to see people as who they are beyond work and see them as the whole selves. And, kudos to Walmart and to you for supporting families through this journey, Megan. It's been so great to see you. Thank you so much for sharing your insights. We wish you tons of luck with this graduating inaugural class. And, and in this age of AI, the fact that you're saying as adults, we should be lifelong learners, I don't think there's a better takeaway from this conversation than that. So thank you so much for being here.
That was great. I mean, that was totally inspiring. And I love that, Walmart, obviously they have the land, they have the budget, but they thought of this from the beginning when they're building out their campus. But I also loved the way Megan put it in perspective, understanding that, not every company can do what they did, but to say like, there are little things you can do and things you can do that can make a difference. And like, it's that quality that matters to help those kids along.
Yeah. And for me, the fact that, it is a large organization, but at the core of it, as a retailer who's focused on making people's lives better, the way she brought it back to saying it is as much about making it, making our associates' lives better was really thoughtful. It wasn't, employee centricity is as much a part of customer centricity. And it was really nice to say, how they were thinking about this for their own associates. And I also, Paul, found the fact that it ended up being an attraction tool, which I was really curious about to say, like, will people move to Arkansas because, now they have access to a great employer? And it seems like that's happening, which is fascinating.
Yeah. And imagine if you're that employee and you have, 1, 2, 3 kids, 4 kids, and they all get to go through this amazing center. You're not going to look for another job. You're going to stay there and be perfectly happy, perfectly content that you're getting something for your kids that allows you to work and to fulfill your own objectives as a person while not having to worry about your kids.
And while valuing, your employer who's doing so much for you and for that next generation. So it's a win-win all along.
And to our listeners as well, thank you for being part of the work life.
Until next time, take care of yourselves, take care of each other. This episode was brought to you by Bright Horizons, and Paul and I love hosting the Work Life Equation.